To mark the 4th edition of the Clash at Twickenham this weekend, Bath Rugby's community team were due to hold a celebration of grassroots rugby.
So we had 4,500 people attending from grassroots clubs, and over 1,000 kids were due to take part in our experiences. So we wanted to give the kids something to be excited about this weekend. And over the course of the last week, we have asked all those children to send in their questions for our Director of Rugby, Stuart Hooper. So, Stuart, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
To warm you up, we're going to crack on and do a quick fire round of questions. Now, these questions you can answer with any of your teammates from your playing career at Bath Rugby. So, are you ready to crack on?
Let's do it.
What was your first memory of Bath Rugby?
Oh, it's got to be my first day at training. When I first came to be a player, and that the butterflies in your stomach when you walk into the changing room for the first time. And the first guy to come up to me and greet me was a scrum half called Michael Claessens, who was here for a long time, and a thoroughly good man, a good friend of mine now, and someone who made me feel welcome right from the moment I walked through the door.
Most questionable history of bad haircuts?
Well, it's someone I played with, but also still in the squad now, Tom Dunn. I think he continues to deliver questionable haircuts day to day.
Most questionable taste in music?
Oh, there's a long list, but I think it would have to be one of the South Africans. Probably actually Michael Claessens, lovely guy, terrible taste in music.
Who had the best taste in music? Was anybody the playlist creator whilst you were in the changing rooms at Bath?
Yeah, I see. It's one of those things where there's often playlists created, but people like different things, don't they? So I remember one specific game where we played away from home, and the playlist somebody put on, I'll leave them anonymous for now because it's probably doesn't do them any favours, but they put a rock playlist on before the game, and that couldn't be further from what most people like, and actually we played incredibly badly, so that person was never allowed to create a playlist again.
Best dancer?
I did play with this guy. He also with us now, Benno Urbano. He's got the moves.
And signature move? Has he got one?
He probably has, but I don't know the name for it. It's impressive.
Best dad jokes? Anybody got poor banter out there?
All the dad jokes from when we were playing probably came from Dave Atwood when he first became a dad for the first time.
And who had the best banter out there?
Catty.
Anybody a prankster?
Catty, yeah. I mean, they're not stories I can tell now, but for many a year, Nathan Catt has amused me with his high level of banter, and the effort he puts into some of his jokes is quite remarkable.
Who was the most likely to learn an instrument in lockdown?
In the current group, I'd say if anyone would come back and wow us with kind of level 8 piano from nothing at the beginning, would probably be Sam Underhill. He can commit himself to something like that and get his head into the books and learn it, I'm sure.
Obviously, from your perspective and the playing side, gutted to be missing out on what would have been a spectacular day at Twickenham today. What are your best memories at that ground, and what have the guys got to look forward to next year? The guys that haven't played the Clash yet. Obviously, it's a special moment running out of Twickenham in the blue, black and white.
Yeah, I think as a Bath player going to Twickenham for the Clash or for the Premiership final, the support is the first thing that you notice. It's unbelievable. As you drive into Twickenham, it's blue, black and white everywhere. And last year, actually, the entrance to the stadium was absolutely phenomenal. Like the work that had gone into that, and the atmosphere, the choreography, and then just the pure support from our supporters. Was something I'll never forget. And you got boys on the bus there who've played 40, 50 times for England, and they're blown away by the entrance that they get from Bath supporters at Twickenham. So that goes a long way to say how powerful it was. And then that just continues inside the ground, and the noise, the atmosphere, the whole theatre of the place is very, very special. And to run out there as a player is it's unique to do it for your club side when it's not in a final. So you need to relish it and really enjoy every moment, because it's a very, very special place to play.
Yeah, fingers crossed, back there next year. Last question on this round. Lots of grassroots players will be watching this. thinking about what they can do to keep their rugby skills up to scratch. What are you saying to our players at the moment, and how are they coping? What advice are we giving them? Obviously, with life in lockdown.
Yeah, so they have a pretty thorough program that they're going through right now. So looking after themselves as athletes. So a lot of it's obviously physical conditioning. So they're only training on their own. So they've got some weights that they've taken home. They've got some equipment. They've got some bikes, and obviously they can get outside and run. So yeah, we're allowing them to obviously keep up their conditioning, keep up their fitness, and they've all got balls and stuff that they can chuck around to themselves. There's obviously no genuine rugby training you can do on your own, but there's a little bit of skills work, and there's plenty of running and weights that they can do, so that when we get back into the building ready to finish the season, they'll be ready to go.
And is everyone keeping in touch? A lot of questions that kids sent through was actually about staying in touch with teammates and keeping in touch through quizzes, even workouts, etc. Are there clusters of players that are keeping in touch throughout this process?
Yeah, there's loads of interaction. They're all in small groups. They check in on each other. They support each other, and staff as well, like the conditioning staff are helping them out with their programs. And with the way, with Zoom and Skype and WhatsApp and all that sort of stuff, the lads are in contact daily.
What I'd love to know is, what's the best way to excel in rugby and showcase your abilities to coaches?
Yeah, hey Ryan, I think the biggest thing is to understand what it is that you're really good at. So I don't know what position you play or what skills you believe are your best, but keep practicing them, get good at the things that you're good at, get even better at the things that you're really good at, and keep doing that, and then ensure that you put yourself in position to do that within the games that you play and within the training that you play, but always have in the back of your mind that rugby is a team sport, and coaches who can see you excelling but also helping other people out and allowing them to excel, you'll stand out, and by being you'll have an opportunity to progress as far as you possibly can.
Who would win in a sprint race, Rocco or Anthony Watson?
Oh, Noah, that's a good question.
Is that a tight race?
I'd say it was a tight race, but I'm going to give it to Anthony. I know Rocco will phone me up after this and ask me why I didn't give it to him, but I'm going to give it to Anthony. He's got slightly younger legs, shall I say.
How much training do the players do every day before and after the lockdown? So how many hours do they train on a normal working week, and then what are they doing at the moment? I know we've already gone through that a little bit.
Yeah, that's fine. So in a normal working week, they'd come into the training ground at about 7:30, and they would probably leave at about 4:30. And in that, they would have a gym session, they'd have a mobility session, they'd have obviously a pitch session, and they'd also have their physio and team meetings. So relatively decent day's work, 7:30 till 4:30, they'd do that. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they'd be off. And then Thursday be a slightly shorter day, and then Friday a shorter day again as you build into the weekend. So yeah, all in all, they'd be in kind of 3.5 days in a normal week plus match day. And then in lockdown now, they're training 4 times a week. So they're training 4 days a week, 2 sessions on each day. So 8 sessions in a week during lockdown.
Who was the best coach you ever played under?
Yeah, so obviously being at Bath for the time I have, I've worked under a few coaches, and there's a couple of people who stand out. When I first came, Mark Bakewell was the forwards coach, and he really introduced me to a whole new level of detail around the line out and around forwards play. He was a special coach, and then latterly during my career. Obviously, Hats was a coach when I was playing. He taught me a lot about the forward side of the game, and really how you can become dominant as a forward pack and really start to win Premiership games that way. So I pick out those two in my time at Bath as being the best coach I've worked with.
Any special tips or training techniques for spatial awareness on the pitch?
Oh, great question. I think one thing I think we do in this country generally, and I've not seen you play, but I'm not saying this is what you do, but generally we're a nation where we'll look for contact rather than look for space. So looking up is the first thing. Make sure when you've got the ball in your hands, you do look up. And when you look up, you're looking to identify the space between players versus the players. If you do that, if you can find the space between players, even if you don't make a clean break, you're probably only going to get tackled with one arm, and that gives you an opportunity to offload or to bust the tackle. So, yeah, very, very simple, but head up when you're carrying the ball and look for the space, not the people.
Nice, good answer. Game of evasion. How have you found transitioning from player, captain to coach?
I love it. I love the challenge of the role. I love the challenge of the job. I'm never going to sit here and say it's easy to go from being a player and a captain of a team and transitioning to part of the management and now ultimately director of rugby. It's a challenge, but a good one. I wouldn't want it any other way. And it's about understanding that I'm not a player. I don't want to be a player, and lots of the people that are here now I've never played the game with. So it's about proving myself every day as a director of rugby and proving myself to be somebody that they can trust and somebody who can allow them to fulfil their ambitions as rugby players.
Did you always have it in the back of your mind during your playing career that you would one day turn into a coach, or is it something that just happened towards the end of your career?
Yeah, I always wanted to go into coaching and wanted to shape the team and shape the people in the way that I felt was the right way to win and be successful for a long period of time. So yeah, to have the opportunity to do that is massive, and it excites me every day.
Will Bath have any new players to continue building the squad?
We will do. Yep, we will do. There'll definitely be some which are just close to being confirmed now, and when they are, we will announce it, and you guys can have your views on who we've brought in. But there'll be a few people coming, a few people going, and the squad for next year will take shape very shortly. Nice,
exciting news to come, William. What do you tell your players on the field to motivate them?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in your motivation has to come from within initially. So everyone's got a reason why they play the game. So we'll spend a bit of time in the week and in the weeks and in pre-season understanding why different people do what they do. And then occasionally, sometimes it's my job to kind of let them resurface and allow people to connect those whys together, and that allows people to play for each other. There's not a kind of big shouting spree or big loud messages from me to make things happen before a game or half time or after a game. It's occasionally there's a little bit of emotion and occasionally there's a little bit of a prompt, but the lads do a lot of work in the week to allow them to play on the weekend. So normally it's about going back to that and reinforcing what we're seeing from the opposition and what we talked about in the week.
What age were you when you started playing rugby, and did you find it easy to understand the rules?
I didn't start playing rugby till I was about 14 actually. I signed professionally when I was 18. So did I understand the rules? No, I definitely didn't. The first game I played fullback. I was a long way from understanding what I was doing, running around and jumping into people that I wasn't allowed to do and all that sort of stuff. So it was a sharp learning curve for me from 14 onwards.
How long does it take you to select a team? And do you select your team based on the opponents, or do you just select the strongest 15?
That's a good question. I think that very much it's a combination of the opponent, of your squad, and of what you've got coming up. So the Premiership and Europe is a relentless group of games. So what we can't do is just play our best team every week, because you need to look at the strategy, you need to understand what's happening, what has happened, international call-ups, all that sort of thing. So selection is a huge part of the week. I take on the information from the coaches, I ask their opinion, and then generally I'll go away in the evening and reflect on it and make my decisions overnight, come back and tell the coaches exactly where we're going to go the next morning. So it's a pretty full-on process because it's important to get it right. But yeah, it's something which we do at the start of the week. We'll do it, we'll start talking about it on a Monday and we'll name the team normally on a Tuesday, so players have an opportunity to impress in training.
Nice. That was the last question. So thank you to everybody who sent their questions in, and thanks to you as well, Hoops. Look, we're sorry that we're not at Twickenham today. Would have been an unbelievable day, and we're sure that you would have enjoyed your once-in-a-lifetime moments. But fingers crossed, we're all back next year, and we're enjoying a day at HQ again. So yeah, thanks again, Hoops, and we'll speak soon.
Pleasure. Thanks, guys. Bye now.